Who was Adam? The Christian scholars have said that the Bible only goes back 6,000 years with the making of Adam. You have Charles Darwin, you have Dr. John Davy, you have Dr. George G. Fraser, you have Dr. Pritchard and Dr. Conklin and others who agree with Elijah Muhammad. The Bible comes out of the Hebrew text. Now, Adam, if you remember, if you know anything about your Bible, Adam started trouble by transgressing against God's instruction, right? After Adam and Eve transgressed, what did God do to them? He put them out. There was something in their nature, something in their character, something in their make. But the question becomes, is the Adam of the Bible the first people? See? The Bible only goes back 6,000 years. Let's bring Mr. Leakey, a white anthropologist. We're going to bring him to the witness stand today. Every Caucasian or black that study anthropology, Leakey is at the forefront of it. And in his writings, Leakey said that the Caucasian race only goes back 6,000 years, and he couldn't even trace it past Europe. Adam of the book. Now, many Christians, and we said this last week, but I'm going to say it again this week. Many Christians believe that Adam of the Bible was the first man. If he was, why did God say, come on, let us make man? Who was the us helping God make Adam? How you going to make him? He's going to be in our image. He's going to be like us. But he ain't going to be us. What you going to do after you make him? I'm going to give him some power and dominion. I'm going to let him control things for a while to see how he act with it. Then one book said about the devil, or this making of this people, 6 days shall you rule. But on the 7th day, I'm going to put your rule to an end. 6 days is equal to 1,000 years, Timothy said, and 1,000 years equal to a day. So that's approximately 6,000 years. Now, I hope y'all ready. Y'all all right? There are some books of the Bible that they didn't put in, and we got some of them with us today. Now, they ain't authorized by King James. He don't like these. He didn't put them in. Don't put them in. That tells too much about our history. Y'all all right? Adam. Let's look at it. Y'all all right? Who is this person? In the Hebrew language, there are no vowels, no A-E-I-O-U. DM comes from a Hebrew root, diem. Diem means a ruddy race. Reverend Price, if you go look up the word ruddy, ruddy means a person who is pale, reddish, or rosy cheeked. No, Santa Claus. But the human family of the world talks about, in many of other people's tradition, about a ruddy race people coming. Y'all all right? I'm going to show you in the writings where a Jewish rabbi had a conversation with a black king in Arabia about an albino child he had. This is a ruddy race people. This man in the Bible, this Adam is a part of the teachings of Yaqub. See, now the Muslims are saying, "Oh, this can't be true." Shut up. Because the same Adam is in the Quran. Surah 2, verse 30. When God wanted to make his man. And the angel said, wait, we already here. What are you going to make? Except that which caused the mischief and the shedding of blood. Reverend Price, why didn't you tell the people that in the book, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said a white man have been here for 6,000 years. And every 1,000 years he's been here, he's killed over 100 million people. Murdered them. This is a part of their history. So Adam, when you take it out of the Hebrew text, means a ruddy race people. Y'all all right? Now let's go to some of the scientists. This Adam was causing trouble, right? If you read the book of Genesis, the book of genes, or genetics, or Genesis, chapter 3, verse 24. Y'all write that down? Chapter 3, verse 24. It reads, well, we're going to start with 23, speaking on Adam. Therefore, the Lord God sent forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims. Now, black folks, Christians, what's a cherubim? They don't know. Now, a cherubim is a man, a God, standing guard, watching. He's on his post. Why did you put a cherubim there, God? And a flaming sword, which turned every way, to keep the way of the tree of life out. A flaming sword, meaning a two-edged sword. So if we saw Adam or his kind trying to come back in, they would take their heads. It's in their Masonic order. Because a lot of Christian preachers are Masons, but they won't tell you the truth. And a Mason are taught to keep the Quran a secret. And the history of Adam a secret. The question becomes, now I'm coming up, y'all, bear with me. This is called the lost book of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden. These books was found by an archaeologist in Ethiopia. No, that's where Jesus' mother is from. Ethiopia. In this book are some of the books of the Bibles that the European left out. There's a book called the Book of Adam and Eve. Listen at why Adam got drove out and where he got drove to. Chapter 4 in the book of Adam and Eve. And then it says, but Adam and Eve wept for having come out of the garden, their first abode. And indeed, when Adam looked at his flesh, because he was a different people, that was altered, he wept bitterly, and Eve over what they had done. And they walked and went gently down into the cave of treasure. What? No, come on, don't get emotional. Let's look at human history. What group of people lived in caves? Well, you know, there was some Mexican Indians that lived in caves too. But where was these caves? Where was the Garden of Eden? The Garden of Eden was that part of this country that's called Mecca, Arabia. Look at it now. And as they came to it, Adam wept over himself and said to Eve, look at this cave, that it is to be our prison in this world, and a place of punishment. What is it compared with the garden? What is it in comparison with the garden? What is it narrowness compared with the space of the others? What is this rock by the side of those groves? What is the gloom of this cabin compared with the light of the garden? What is this overhanging ledge of rocks to shelter us compared with the mercy of the Lord that overshadows us? What is the soil of this cave compared with the garden land, this earth strewed with stones, and that planted with delicious fruit trees? And Adam said to Eve, look at thine eyes, and at mine, which afore beheld angels in heaven praising, and they too without ceasing. But now we do not see as we did. Our eyes have become of flesh. They cannot see in like manner as they saw before. Adam said again to Eve, what is our body to do compared to that which was the former days when we dwelt in the garden? After this, Adam did not like to enter the cave under the overhanging rocks, nor would he ever have entered. But he bowed to God's orders and said to himself, unless I enter the cave, I shall again be a transgressor. Adam and Eve was ran out of the garden, they said, over the rocks and into the hills and cave sides of Europe. That coincides with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Let's see if other writings say it. There's a brother that did a study. His name is Paul Lawrence Guthrie. He wrote a book called Making of the White Man, History, Tradition, and the Teachings of Elijah Muhammad, because he wanted to see if others had wrote similar writings to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Y'all all right? Let's find out. I gave you a scholar by the name of George Fraser. Let me give you the book that he wrote. The book is called Folklore in the Old Testament. Let me give you the copyright dates, because I want you to have everything. It's called Folklore in the Old Testament. New York, Macmillan Company, 1923, pages 11 and 12. The book is called Folklore in the Old Testament, New York, Macmillan Company, 1923, page 11 and 12. Now, he's writing about the Maudu Indians on the account of the white-skinned people. He says one such account has been handed down in the tradition of the Maudu Indians. In their record of the making of man, the Maudu point out that in the beginning, God made two people out of dark red clay. But that one day, after a garden was planted, those same two people turned very white. Not only is the Maudu account similar to the Bible story of Adam and Eve, but it is also offers information supportive of the position that the first white people were somehow transformed out of an earlier, darker-skinned people. In his book, Folklore in the Old Testament, George G. Fraser, which is a European, quotes from the Maudu account regarding God's making of man, as preserved in Maudu tradition. Fraser writes, one day he took dark red earth, mixed it with water, and fashioned two figures. Don't that sound familiar? That's in the Holy Quran. That God took Adam and fashioned him out of black mud. Right? The Bible, God took two men and women and fashioned them out of the dirt of the earth. You don't see white dirt nowhere on our planet unless you're near a beach somewhere. And that ain't dirt. One of them, now he goes to say, one day he took dark red earth, mixed it with water, and fashioned two figures. One of them a man and the other a woman. The next morning he thrust a piece of pitch wood into the ground, and fire burst out. The two people were very white. No one today is so white as they were. A similar tradition from India explains that the first Caucasians were made when a group of dark-skinned people gave birth to light-complexioned babies, who in turn gave birth to a nation of albinos, from whom other whites were born. Dr. John Davy mentions this tradition and considered the possibility of the white race having originated in this manner in his book entitled Account of the Island of Ceylon. As to the likelihood that whites first came into existence through a means of similar to this, Dr. Davy admitted. Let me tell you, Dr. Davy, let me give you his book. Because if I don't tell you what white folks said, you ain't going to believe. His book is entitled Account of the Island of Ceylon. John Davy, cited by Alexander Winchell in a book called The Pre-Adamites, Chicago, 1880. Page 349 and 350. Man, he admitted it is easy to conceive that an accidental variety of the kind might propagate, and that the white race of mankind is sprung from such an accidental variety. The East Indians are of this opinion, and there is a tradition or story among them in which this origin is assigned to us. These views of scientists like Dr. Davy and others concerning the origin of the white race generally are in accord with Muhammad's teaching, in that most agree that white people had to have come into being by way of darker skinned parents. Y'all all right? See, you didn't go far enough, Reverend Price. This much at least was admitted by another scientist called L. Bork, who in an article entitled Origin of Racial Characteristics in Man. Y'all all right? That's his book. His book is called what? Origin of Racial Characteristics in Man. This is a Jew called L. Bork. Now, you can get his book. It comes out of the American Journal of Physical Anthropology. Comes out of New York AR List, quoted by H.P. Weiserman. He has a book called Ethnic Pigmentation, Historical, Physiological, and Clinical Aspects, New York American, Alzenvaro publication, 1974, page 58. Let's see what the Jews got to say about this. Origin of Racial Characteristics in Man wrote, white skin started from an ancestor with a black skin, in whose offspring's hair and iris color was suppressed more and more. This is a Jew saying that white skin originated out of black skin, in whose offspring's hair and iris color were suppressed more and more. That description matches perfectly with what Elijah Muhammad refers to as grafting. Don't tell me white folks can't graft. There's nothing new under the sun. They have taken a sheep and grafted a sheep, right? And in that sheep, in the grafting, they have taken certain of its characteristics out and made a sheep. And the other day on CNN, they admitted that this grafted sheep will never be able to outlive the original sheep because it's not original. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes, whenever you take something and graft it out of original, you have made that thing a devil. Ooh. Now, Charles Darwin, he discussed the origin of race. He too expressed the opinion that selection over the course of many generations had to have been used in bringing about what he called the characteristic differences between the races of man. He even went on to conclude that without some form of selected breeding, such racial differences simply cannot be accounted for in a satisfactory manner. Darwin's findings that new races were formed by continuing to marry offspring who shared similar physical characteristics is consistent with Muhammad's explanation of the grafting process. Breed the lighter with the lighter. And every time you get a light baby, breed that light baby with another light baby until you come up with a white man. Y'all all right? I told you I got to take my time. I want to give you all of these white scholars. James Corliss Pritchett, a doctor and a British anthropologist, looked at the facts and concluded that the physical differences between the races of man could only have resulted from a method comparable to the process of artificial selection carried on by plant and animal breeders. When it came to answering the question of where all of this selective breeding could have taken place, Dr. Edwin Grant Crocklin, a professor of biology at Princeton University, pointed out that geographic isolation, similar to the kind that Muhammad said occurred on the island of Pelan. Y'all all right? Where's the island of Pelan? Right outside of Greece, in the Aegean Sea. Who taught us that? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, brothers and sisters, I want to take you to some of the Shahnameh that you got to become familiar with, and then we'll close out. These are other historical accounts. This historical account comes out of Persia. The history of the ancient Persia is outlined in its national epic called the Shahnameh. This ancient account relates an event in which two dark-skinned parents gave birth to a white-skinned son. Now, the Bible story of Jacob's grafted flock, you can read that in Genesis 31, chapter 31, verse 41. The Bible story of Jacob's grafted flock is related to the birth of white people from black parents, is attested to by the ancient book of Jewish tradition called the Midrash Rabbah. There, a discussion is recorded between the black king of Arabia and a Jewish scholar called Aqaba. Aqaba is another name for Yaqub. In that discussion, the black king is said to have stated, "I am black, and my wife is black, yet she gave birth to a white son. This Jewish scholar came to the king, to which Aqba's response was, why are you surprised? If you are surprised at such a possibility, study the case of our father Jacob's flock, which were influenced in their conception by the rods. In Aqba's response, he drew a connection between the birth of a white-skinned child to black parents with the case of Jacob, grafting of an unusually colored flock. That it took Jacob 6 years to graft his flock parallels with Muhammad's history of Yaqub taking 600 years to come up with the Caucasian. Man, it's so much, Mr. Price, but I don't have time to deal with it all. But let's go back to Shahnameh. The boy's father was terrified by the unusual color of the child, and he immediately announced to the people that this newly arrived son belonged to a race of devils. This is Shahnameh, the Persian people. The boy's father was terrified by the unusual color of the child, and he immediately announced to the people that this newly arrived son belonged to a race of devils. Soon thereafter, a group of men from among the elders of the city issued a warning concerning the white child's future. Turning toward the father of the boy, the elders declared, "This will be to thee productive of nothing but calamities." And in the story of Adam and Eve, a decision was made to remove the child from the region. And in the words of Shahnameh, the white-skinned boy was then stripped bare and removed from the land and abandoned in some remote place, far from association with man. Thus, this child was seized and taken to Mount Abras in the heart of the Caucasus Mountain. Man, that can be found in a book. Let me give you that book. The Epic of the Kings, Shahnameh, the national epic of Persia, by Ferdorsky, translated by Reuben Levy, a Jew, and Yashovsky, another Jew, at the University of Chicago Press, 1967, page 36. Y'all all right? Look. Another tradition, this is my last one, it's more. Another tradition recorded in the book of Enoch. This is one of the lost books supposedly the lost books of the Bible. Also fits this familiar pattern and state that Lamech's wife gave birth to a white-skinned son. Lamech's white-skinned son likewise ends up in the Caucasus Mountains on Mount Ararat. According to the version found in the book of Enoch, Lamech, the boy's father, described the child as changed, unlike, and of different nature than those who had lived before him. As in the other accounts, the newly arrived child's skin is said to have been white as snow, and his hair was blonde. The book of Enoch talks about what happened when Lamech learned that his wife had given birth to an uncommonly colored child. In this regard, chapter 105 states, she became pregnant by him and brought forth a child, the flesh of which was white as snow and red as a rose, the hair of whose head was white, a ruddy race people. And lo, Lamech, his father, was afraid of him, and flying away to his own father Methuselah, said, I have begotten a son, a changed son. He is not human, but is of a different nature from ours, being altogether unlike to us. Here The circumstances surrounding the birth of the white-skinned child symbolically represents the arrival of a new white-skinned race of people into the region of the Near East. Lamech's father Methuselah, not knowing what to make of the unusual-looking boy, went seeking the advice of his own father Enoch. Thus, Methuselah went to Enoch and said, "A child has been born whose nature is not like the nature of man. His color is whiter than the snow. He is redder than a rose. The hair of his head is whiter than white. And behold, I am come to thee that thou mightest point out to me the truth." Listen, Methuselah's last statement suggests to be a hidden meaning of a symbolic purpose associated with the birth of a child. Then Enoch answered and said, "The Lord will effect a new change upon the earth through this people." There are other historical accounts, brothers and sisters, and you can get it in the books if you were just to search it, that the Adam of the Bible is the Caucasian. And he was ran out of the garden by God for causing trouble. The Holy Quran says he is a shedder of blood. The Bible in the book of Romans, it says, "Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the earth." It didn't say by one spirit. The book of Romans in chapter 5, verse 12. "Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned." Listen. Verse 14 said, "Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses." The Bible says death reigned. It started with Adam all the way up to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam and his transgression, who is the figure of him that was come. Even the Bible tells you about Adam. And listen at what it says about their characteristics in the 3rd chapter of Romans, verse 13. "Their throat is an open sepulchre. With their tongues they have used deceit. The poison of asp is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their way, and the way of peace have they not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Nor, now, we know that what things soever the law said, it said to them who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before God." Book of Revelation says, "And the white horse," what horse? White horse. "And the white horse," this is a white horse, "went out," right? "And the rider was who? Death. And if the white horse and the rider was death," the book of Revelation said, everywhere this rider who was on this horse, everywhere they went, what followed it? Hell. Everywhere they have gone, have they started trouble? Have they been quick to shed people's blood? They love blood. They love killing. Is that right? When they do a kill on animals, they drink the blood of the animal. Their feet is swift to shed blood. Lying in the seat is under their tongue when they found us. They lied to us. Is that right? So when the white horse went out and the rider was death, and hell followed close.